Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for All About Android is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Hover. Finding the perfect domain name is incredibly easy with Hover. Go to hover.com/AAA and save 10% off your first purchase. And by LegalZoom. Visit LegalZoom.com/startup for a free business startup kit, and for special savings, enter AAA at checkout. And by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. When it comes to the big decision of choosing a mortgage lender, work with one that has your best interest in mind. Use Rocket Mortgage for a transparent, trustworthy home loan process that's completely online at quickenloans.com/Android.
Episode 310, recorded live on March 21st, 2017. We are your source for the news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Florence Ion.
And I'm Ron Richards, and good job, Florence. In Jason's absence, you stepped up. You were so close to getting it perfect.
I know. You know why? You know why I was overthinking it? Because the last time I did it, my first time, I got it like perfectly, and it's because I didn't think about it too much. And today I was just overthinking it. But you know what? That's fine.
Yeah, that's totally okay. Yeah.
We are here, and we are doing it, and we are here with with the aid of our guest, Mr. Mark Bursteiner.
Hi! You did it. I'm so proud of you. That was really incredible. Would let you intro again.
A+.
Well, thank you. B++, B++ maybe.
Oh, A++.
Well,
easily.
Thank you very much.
So, so it's great to have Mark back on the show. Mark, your energy is always loved and was missed. But a super bummer that Jason's missing possibly one of the biggest shows of the year.
Yes, and I think that may also be why our heads are a little woo-woo, considering all that has been happening on the internet today, which includes Android whatever it might be.
Android
O, whatever it might be. More Samsung Galaxy S8 rumors. Super Mario Run on Android. It's like, it's only Tuesday, guys. What happened?
It's seriously the bombs dropped. But before we dive into it, quickly want to give a quick shout out and congratulations to yet another friend of the show, Liam Spradlin, who was on the show a couple weeks ago. As we're saying goodbye to Liam, for good reason, because he's joining Google. I believe last week we congratulated another friend of the show who was joining Google as well. Our good friend Yasmin Evgen for joining the Google Design Relations team, and now, not surprisingly, Liam is joining her as well on the Google Design Relations team. So their gain is our loss, because as we know, once somebody joins the Big G, they stop doing the podcast. So.
This is true. But collectively, it is our gain as Android users, because design team.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Some great talent.
It'll hopefully get a little bit more consistency going in there. I've had a few friends make that ascension. It's extra sad for me though, because Liam did the branding for my YouTube channel. So like I owe all of those beautiful graphics to him.
That explains why your graphics are in material design. I was actually wondering about that.
100%. That's Spanish.
Very, very cool. Well, so congratulations, Liam.
Congratulations,
we'll miss
Liam.
You. Yep.
Huge congrats.
Well, now let's hop into it, guys. We have like a lot to talk about.
So much.
So does that mean news?
That means it's time for the news, Brian.
Usually Jason gives me a little warm.
Usually Jason does this, but today it's Flo leading the show, and Brian, we're going into the news.
This is like when you're.
But I was slightly interrupted, but I will continue because I am not overthinking Android news. Continue.
I'm sorry, Brian. I was gonna say this is like when your parent. I remember like when my mother would go on a business trip and my dad would be like, "Listen, we're not doing it her way. We're doing it my way."
What a smooth segue.
And my way is no smooth segues, but it is what it is. Ron, what the heck happened today?
So the big news today, and what knocked us all on our collective butts, was that what was funny is that last night, as I started prepping for the show, knowing Jason would be out, I started seeing little bits of rumors of features from Android O, the next version of the Android operating system, starting to leak out. And I thought that was going to be the main thrust of this segment on the show. But then, sure enough, this morning, Android O dropped on us like Christmas coming early. Google released the Android O developer preview. So the next version of Android version 8, also, no code name yet, just called O. The developer preview version hit, and it is now available for download and install. And everyone has been scrambling to check it out, which was very fun to watch all of friends of the show and Android coverage folks scrambling today. to try to cover it.
Although it's interesting to note that Android O this year is not doing the huge person preview, as I call it, which is everybody can use it and check it out and beta it and
that was
actually the rest of developers.
Yeah, that was on the rundown. It's after this part, but I was gonna say, it's not part of the beta program yet. It's probably gonna move to that in May. But so for now, what it is, it's you can download it and install it if you are adventurous enough to do that. But it's mainly meant for developers. It is a developer preview to allow developers to get a sense of what's coming in the next version of the operating system, and then start to adjust their apps in time for it. And we went through this with Android N. There were several rounds of developer preview where people were test driving it, and then it eventually got better and better, and it got into the beta track and that sort of thing. So it's a similar process. I was surprised, though, that this is coming out so far ahead of I/O. I thought this would happen closer to I/O.
Well, this happened last year too, didn't it?
Yeah,
I think
it did. It was about late March, early April. And I mean, I/O at this point feels just around the corner.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, last year we all got knocked on our butts too. We all it dropped, and we were all like, oh God, we got to install it ASAP right around this time of year.
And that was the beta that everybody could jump into.
Yep.
I mean, at least now we have some time to prepare our phones and our devices for when the beta does come to us in May.
Right.
Yeah.
And it does come.
And I believe the announcement was that it's available and it will work on when it hits the Android beta program, it's going to work on the Pixel XL, the Nexus 6P, Nexus 5X, the Pixel C, and the Nexus Player once it's released into the beta program. So that's something to look forward to if you are on one of those devices. But I figure let's do a quick dive in some of the early reviews on the functionality changes and the changes of the operating system, because there are a lot and there's some really exciting stuff. So I'm gonna quickly give a highlight of what the change is, and then let's discuss it, and then we'll move on because there's so much to go through.
So much.
Rapid fire. Boom.
So first off, the biggest one, I prioritized these by the ones that I felt were important, but notification channels. So basically, they're introducing a framework to group together notifications by types. And so that if you have notifications for news apps, you can group them into a news app, or for messaging, and you could set rules for these notification types in different ways, basically giving you even more control over notifications. Mark, what do you think of notification channels?
I think it's exactly what we needed. I think this is one of the there was, if you remember in the System UI tuner, you could turn on the really fine-grained notification controls. I think this is a great step in the correct direction. I like the idea of treating your notifications the same way that you treat the different categories in Inbox. Like, it seems like the same idea to me. And then if there's rules that I can set, so that I can say like, hey, send me my news at 6 p.m. or don't bother me with anything social after 9 or 10, like, whew. Primo, I'm excited. That's good stuff. Moving on.
Yeah. Flo, what do you think of the notifications?
I mean, notifications are the bane of the Android existence, and the software updates, but we don't really mention that anymore because it makes us too sad. Every day, I'm like clearing notification after notification. I mean...
Which is funny you say that, though, because I literally had a conversation today with an iOS user in reaction to the changes with Android O, and he's like, "Oh God, your guys' notifications is so much better than iOS." He's like, "I would kill for." Totally. He's like, I would kill for the level of control you have, and it's driving me crazy that you guys are innovating on notification way more than Apple is, which I think is totally true. I think that this is an innovation that we haven't seen at the OS level, and is super exciting.
But I bet
when
that a lot of
iOS launched the
people-
notification
Sorry.
center, everybody was like, "Oh, you guys just knocked off Android." Everybody
Yeah.
got upset with Apple because the notification center knocked off Android. Like, I think the notifications in Android are great. I think the issue is the overwhelming issue of so many of them. I don't think that's just an Android thing. That's just a mobile user thing. Like, we just have an enormous amount of data coming at us at any given moment.
So I think this is a good solution though, because you have an enormous amount of notifications coming in, so you can group them and then control the way they're coming in. I think that's genius.
Agreed.
All right, moving on. Adaptive icons. This I thought was really, really cool. It's allowing developers to have different shaped masks and effects on their icons. So the app icons integrate better with OEMs and devices. But then it's also gonna open the door for animations and contextual changes. So imagine seeing a calendar app with the day that today's date on it, or a clock app with the time on it, or some sort of change in the animation or something like that. It's basically like it says adaptive icons. Florence, you oohed. Are you excited about this one?
Well, yeah, because I'm just thinking about Samsung and LG and the way that they sort of have
Ruin
like
the
this
icons?
Well, they have. I mean, sometimes people do want to use their launchers, which is completely fine. It's each to his own. I mean, that's the whole point of Android. But I don't like sometimes the way that Google icons look alongside the other native icons, and so this just sounds like a nice way to make everything level on the interface.
I think it's a herald of theming.
And what a great way to solve such an annoying issue of fragmentation and just sort of this difference in design paradigms that live across different devices. I know it's super frustrating, but for some people that interface doesn't matter as much to them. But I can see for Google having it be very important that whatever their product is looks good on everybody else's product. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Totally.
I do have to admit that Brian just typed in our little secret chat room.
Yes.
Windows Live Tiles.
Yeah,
and
that's a good point.
Easy. Windows Live Tiles are very, very, very different. Those are at least uniform shapes. Like, this is a very different story. It's a big problem. It's been a big problem on Android for a long time, and this is putting the power in developers' hands to be like, okay, cool. You don't want to make an app icon that actually follows the material guidelines, which, I mean, like, Google has put an enormous amount of effort into making sure that designers have material guidelines, and some of them just don't follow them. So now the developer can just be like, okay, cool, no problem. I'll just use adaptive icons and it'll adapt to whatever the thing is. So at the very least, it's a masked shape and not just a white circle background like we've been getting for the Play Store icons since Nougat.
Can I just say that my mother's biggest complaint on Android is that she doesn't have a badge that lets her know how many messages she has?
Oh, well, wouldn't it be nice if that were in the developer preview?
That would be cool.
That would be cool.
Well,
Is it Ron?
I don't know. Maybe.
No, it is. It totally is. It is. It totally is.
I haven't installed it yet. I'm on the Robin. I don't want to mess with it, so I'm operating off of what I found. But yeah, no. But with the adaptive icons,
sorry,
you can have
Ron.
Yeah. Anyway.
I was trying to segue. I was trying to transition. Anyway.
Okay, well, let's move on. So I'm gonna jump ahead actually to stick with the design themed kind of changes. Font resources. Which I think this is, as a font nerd myself, this is amazingly interesting. It's going to allow font resources to be powered by XML to enable full resource type, which basically gives designers way more control over fonts and styles. Previously, if you remember, they were limited to Roboto and all the font packages within Android. Now opening it up and allowing them to define fonts and styles via XML allows a lot more leverage in the design.
Yeah.
So I like that.
It does. Also, but same vein, the wide gamut color stuff is a big deal for a lot of the same reasons, but also because basically every time I'm on the show, I feel like we talk about how devices have hit this like diminishing returns point. And this is one of the things that makes these displays that are already well past the PPI for our retinas. Now we have another thing to differentiate them, to separate them out. Like having access to colors that other devices just can't display, I think is a big deal, especially with Samsung's like kick butt displays. I said butt.
Yeah, and so to clarify on that, it's the support for wide gamut color profiles, which is going to be really crucial for folks who are doing photo editing and image editing on their devices. And it's right out of the gate, it's going to support profiles for Adobe RGB, ProPhoto RGB, and DCI P3. So folks who work in color profile stuff, that's super, super important. So that's really cool. So moving back down the list, autofill APIs. So now users are going to be able to choose a source for their autofill data. So that when an application that needs to store and retrieve this sort of data, it doesn't need to act as an accessibility service, which is huge for password managers and things like that, right, Mark?
So huge. LastPass, Dashlane, 1Password, all such a big deal. Like right now, in order to sign into something that the app doesn't recognize as a login field, every once in a while you've got to tap the different fields to even get it to show up. And then beyond that, if you're lucky and it does do that, you've got to tell LastPass or whatever the app is, hey, associate this app with this login. LastPass has to do the work. That'll be a thing of the past now. With an autofill API, it should be fairly simple for the app to be like, hey, I volunteer as tribute.
Yep. So moving along, Flo, you're on a Chromebook now these days, right?
I am. I'm using one right now.
What is one of the functions that you would love to have at the OS level in your Chromebook? Keyboard navigation, maybe?
Maybe. Say yes, Flo.
Yeah,
say yes.
Sure.
Say yes.
I don't understand how you can be using a Chromebook and not be frustrated at the lack of arrow and tab key navigation like a laptop. And now with Android O, they're gonna.
It is a small thing, but when you become when you become used to the touchscreen. Sorry, go on. Yes, Android O.
Well, no, I was gonna say is that this is a key Chromebook level support in the operating system to show that Android will continue to develop on Chromebooks and have support for laptop-esque navigation, like using arrow keys and tab keys and keyboard controls.
Right. This is a herald of the convergence as more and more Android apps, like as Google asks Android developers to make sure that Android apps even do run on Chromebooks. Like this is another reason to do it.
Which now, Flo, I want to sit down and watch you work because I don't know how you can exist without arrow keys and tab now. Because I'm upset. Like I need the tab key is one of my most it's always a little like the text is rubbed off because I hit tab so much.
Yeah.
You know what? Now I'm starting to think about what it is that.
Touching?
Well, I'm starting to think about, like, for instance, today I was trying out. I was using Google Photos on this Chromebook, and I was arrowing through it. And I think part of the reason I was like, well, what's the issue? I can do that already it's a Google app that I was using. So of course I can tab and arrow through. That's why I was a little confused when we started talking about it, because I was thinking, what are you talking about, Ron? I can do that already on my Chromebook, but it just turns out it's because it was a Google app.
Right, but so now it's at the OS level.
Well,
other apps.
Yeah, and you make a good point. That is gonna get Android developers to think about the fact that they are also developing for this platform right here.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe we'll
really
finally
nice.
get some Android apps that are halfway decent for large displays.
Yep.
Yeah, that's another story for another day regarding the Android apps on Chromebook.
Is this
by the way.
Chromebook image on this article? Is this of your Chromebook, Florence?
Yes,
because
it's of my Chromebook on a
I see the
furry
Pokemon
blanket.
trading card game in the dock there. Were you working or playing?
Yes, I have Pokemon the card game constantly docked on every single Android-compatible device that I have in my house. And you know what? Before we started the show, I was talking to somebody about Pokemon the card game online, and I have no shame.
Well, we'll talk about it after the show. We'll exchange handles.
We will.
So there's more important things to discuss.
There definitely is like picture-in-picture on Android O, which you can do on Android TV, but now you can do it on your Android device.
You could play Pokemon the trading card game and watch a YouTube video at the same time.
And I'm probably going to do that.
Which is really interesting because this is something that's been available on Android TV, and now it's going to be available at the OS level on phones. So it's interesting to see the stuff that they've got working on other platforms starting to spread out across all devices with Android O. That convergence again, like Mark mentioned. Another important one is WebView enhancements. So there's going to be improved multi-process modes for WebView, including developer level APIs for unique errors and crashes, which, me being a huge proponent of progressive web apps, the WebView is crucial to that. So it's even more control on the WebView side of things, which is great. What would an Android operating system update be without something to deal with the battery, right? So
right,
this time
literally every time.
Yeah, so this time it's taking the form of background limits, which is basically going to restrict activities an application wants to do while it's in the background. And the idea being that will limit your battery drain when the app isn't actually, in the foreground being used. It's going to have limits on implicit broadcasts. which is sending signals for other apps or activities to act upon. It's going to limit background services, so the activities that an app can continue to run when it's not on screen, as well as location updates, where it's checking to see, where you are while you're using Android's location services.
That's the big one, I think.
Yeah, that's huge. That's potentially huge.
Yeah, don't use my apps when I'm at home. I don't need you to do anything when I'm at home.
Yep. So then a couple other things. Improved connectivity. It's going to support high quality Bluetooth, which is great. It's going to support network aware networking, which is basically a Wi-Fi protocol that allows devices to communicate without a central access point.
That's a sleeper hit right there, dude. That's a sleeper hit.
And why is that? Why is that, Mark?
That is Apple AirDrop for Android. That's Android Drop. That's enabling Wi-Fi direct connectivity. No more garbage with having to pair to a Bluetooth thing at all anymore. Don't have to worry about where the NFC antenna is on my device. Every device has Wi-Fi. If you're nearby, I can be like, yo, do you want to Wi-Fi me? And then we can Wi-Fi each other.
Yep. And it's also important for IoT in terms of configuring your Google Home. Just take, we got a glimpse of this with the Google Home setup, but with other devices, you want to set up your Nest, you want to set up smart things, you want to set up any sort of IoT, allowing the devices to talk to each other via Wi-Fi without having to go through the central hub is amazing.
Yeah, and that way it's so much easier for setup, for communication on down the line. Like each one can be responsible for talking to themselves without something like a smart things hub. It's great.
Yep. And so then last, just to wrap it up, a couple of APIs, the audio API for Pro Audio. So professional audio folks who've been begging for Android to have better audio support. The new Pro Audio API is going to allow for high performance and low latency audio. So we can finally see a GarageBand-esque recording kind of environment through Android devices, which I'm super excited about. And then lastly, just support for the Java 8 API. So it's all the new Java language API support that comes with Java 8. So that, in a nutshell, is Android O. So based on that, early reviews, Flo, is it a hit or a miss?
Well, I mean, I don't think that this is going to be a significant launch the way that Marshmallow was.
Okay.
To be honest, I think Nougat also.
Now, is that because it lacks a change to the visual design language, like that we're entrenched in Material, but we've got some design changes going on here?
That's true.
Like I feel like O is bigger than Nougat. I feel like this is a bigger launch than 7.
Well, I mean, right now we still have features sort of trickling out, and that's what I'm kind of waiting for. It kind of is hard to tell in the developer preview because even Nougat seemed kind of cool, multi-window.
Nougat.
Awesome.
Right,
Nougat,
but the thing is that I feel like my hype level after reading this first developer preview batch between notification channels, the networking stuff, the font control, the API for for autofills. I mean, these are, I think, really, really big changes. I mean, I don't know, Mark, where are you now between me and Flo? Are you hyped or are you kind of meh?
I think I'm a little more hype. I agree. I think the last update. I think Nougat. Is that how you say it? Nougat was a Nougat. I think that was
Go
a
ahead,
very
Gaston.
sleeper update. I think it was very much I think it was a lot of under the hood stuff. I remember covering a lot of things like with app installs, getting a lot of the bits and bobs tightened up after Marshmallow. I think this is a much bigger launch, and I'm really hoping there's more to it than this because I think there's a lot more that they can do that's on the higher end of accessible. Small changes that they can make, like these things, like more font resources. The adaptive icons one I think is huge. It might not be a visual overhaul, but I think this one's going to seriously improve quality of life. That's what we like in the gaming world. If the UI and UX of the game actually change, quality of life improves. So I think this is a quality of life update.
In terms of bullet points, I will say there are definitely more bullet points with O than there were with N. I mean, just in terms of major bullet points. So we'll see.
Time will tell. We'll see.
Lots of time. I mean, this thing is probably not going to be live until October. At this
Do either of you have it installed on anything yet or no? Okay, cool. I'm installing it on my 6P tonight because I don't want to put it on my Pixel just yet.
No. But we've got other beta news coming up too. If you've got a Pixel S XL, Pixel C, 5X or 6P. Basically, if you are in the Nougat beta, Android 7.1.2 update is coming out today. That build number is NPG47i. This was announced on Google Plus today, and it's rolling out. Nothing too incredible beyond, well, I guess it is kind of incredible because it is adding the Pixel launcher to the Pixel C. So that should help a little bit, just getting that tablet interface to look a little more polished. This will also include some new nav buttons and the new multitasking menu. So there's that at least coming up. And also, did you guys hear about this news item today?
I did.
Very curious news item that Nintendo and Cyanogen almost partnered for the Nintendo Switch.
Now,
I think that's bonkers.
Well, I don't know how bonkers it is. Well, I wanted to get Mark's kind of perspective on this because you're a big gamer. And do you have a Switch? Did you get a Switch or?
Oh no, I wish I had a Switch. Okay. I want a Switch so bad.
Well, so I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were just talking about this particular story, about this not rumor, but this kind of like a what if story that Nintendo talked to Cyanogen about having Switch power be powered by Cyanogen and therefore be powered by Android. And now I don't know, and I'm sure the chat room will or listeners will correct me, but I don't know nothing about how Nintendo Switch works under the hood at all, right?
So
I was talking to a friend of mine, and he said that developers are saying that it's ridiculously easy to develop for the Switch, and that makes one think that is the Switch really running a flavor of Android because NVIDIA built the hardware.
Exactly. So that's the key right there. NVIDIA built the hardware. So this thing is basically an NVIDIA shield under the hood. It's not super crazy powerful, but because they've switched to an architecture that so many other platforms are also built on, there's a lot more opportunity for the homebrew community, and that community has been going absolutely nuts for the last like week and a half.
Yep. So I guess it's not. I guess it's less crazy to think that the Switch would be powered by Android, and more crazy that Nintendo almost went into a deal with Cyanogen, which is a company that we've been following that has been slowly falling apart. Like, could this have saved Cyanogen? Like, does this explain a lot of the stuff that happened with Cyanogen in the last 6 months that this deal didn't go through?
Could it have saved Cyanogen?
Like, absolutely.
You guys think so? Because I'm not sure how that works, honestly.
Well, yeah, I mean that's it would be a license deal that would and putting their software on one of the biggest gaming launches of the year.
Did you ever use the Zook Z1?
No. What is that?
Yeah,
it was a Lenovo device that was launched in China, and they partnered with Cyanogen. It launched and shipped with Cyanogen installed. I wouldn't be surprised. The Zook, Z-U-K, Z1. It's an offshoot, like it's basically to Lenovo as OnePlus is to Oppo, right? It's the more hippity hopping brand that Lenovo is trying to get to take off in China, and that thing shipped with Cyanogen. Yep, that's the one. The fingerprint reader on that was actually pretty decent. It was an okay device, but the relationship wasn't great. And the thing that a lot of people forget too is that Cyanogen and Cyanogen Mod are two separate teams and companies. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, chat will probably correct me on this as well, that this is Cyanogen discussing this potential deal, not Cyanogen Mod. And Cyanogen Mod went on to do Lineage OS, if I remember correctly.
Right.
So I wouldn't be surprised to find that some underpinnings of the OS that's running on the Switch are Android, but they don't need to worry about doing any of the things to stay in Google's good graces because they don't need any of the Google apps.
Right. And that's why I think it's interesting when you talk about the difference between Cyanogen Mod, and now Lineage. Cyanogen was a company that was built and was making a go at being an Android alternative, and they lost the OnePlus deal in India. They had all those big problems, and then mysteriously laid people off. CEOs stepped down, et cetera, et cetera. And I gotta wonder if part of it they were hoping this Nintendo thing would go, and if it fell apart, then that would explain where Cyanogen now as a company, which is in the failure column. Curious story. Curious story.
Very curious. You know who else is curious? Is our video mail submitter, which is Daryl from Brazil.
Hi, AAA crew. My name's Daryl, and I'm calling from Belo Horizonte in Brazil. And today my question is about Android system updates, which I know is a very hot button topic, but in the world of Linux, which Android essentially is, to do an update is just a matter of a sudo apt-get update and upgrade situation. So I want to know if that's the case in Linux, how come that can't be done in some way on Android in general that can bypass all the carriers? Because here where I live in Brazil, or my home country of South Africa, the carriers don't get involved. The updates come directly from the manufacturer. So is this just a situation where the US carriers have dictated to Google what happens and then the rest of the world gets screwed along with the US? Or is it a matter of a technical issue that this can't be done? I'd like to hear your thoughts.
Daryl, I can't speak to the technical issue, but I definitely feel as if though it is partly our fault that Android updates are not really coming down to you in Brazil.
I mean, it's definitely...
The carriers, they
thing.
own everything here in the United States. And I can imagine that if that is the target goal, to get a software update to meet the demands of a U.S. carrier where, I mean, the devices sold here are definitely high in numbers, but are we really leading the pack when we're not the biggest market? That's what I'm sort of wondering.
In the rest of the world, updates are also staggered and a little bit slower depending on the OEM. You know, yeah, sure, a lot of OEMs do handle the updates themselves, but it's not just a simple matter. It like a technical stuff aside, like, yeah, hypothetically you could, but the reason you can't is because it's locked down for political reasons, right? Like the companies, the OEMs, especially Google in this case, it's not just a matter of the carriers in the US controlling it. It's that if Samsung wants to ship an update to the Note 7 to try and keep it from exploding, it's got to go, which it didn't. I mean, they did not make it, didn't go well, spoiler. Then they need to get Android, make the modifications, and after the modifications still be up to snuff, so to speak. I think it's just the nature of being an open source OS. If they were doing a lot more and cared a lot less about what Google thought and whether or not they have Google's blessing in terms of Google Play services in the Play Store, I think things would be much faster. You know, they'd be able to update to their heart's content, but because they have to go through Google, even so in the US, you're right, it is even worse. Carrier, OEM, and Google, right?
It is even
in the rest
worse.
of the world, not so much.
Well, either way, I'm just psyched that we got a video mail from someone in Brazil who's from South Africa.
I know, right?
AAA community going international. So thank you, Daryl, for sending that in. That was awesome. And we apologize on behalf of the world for our carriers.
I was going to apologize as well. Ron and I
just
both
for
apologize.
The rest of the stuff.
Yeah, we apologize. So, all right, let's take a quick break and thank one of our sponsors. This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Hover. And listen, when you got a great idea for your blog or startup or company, you need to give it a great domain name. All right, a domain name is key to your business plan. With Hover, it's incredibly easy to set up your domain name with the most popular website builders. Hover has over 400 domain extensions, so you can get all the classic domains like .com and .net. They've also got niche extensions like .design and .tech, which is pretty cool. And they've got all those quirky new extensions like .pizza, .ninja, and .horse. I don't know about you, but I want a .horse website. So once you find your domain, you can use Hover Connect to set up your domain automatically with your website in just a few clicks. You can use it to get a more on-brand or professional email address. Your domain works with whatever email programs you're already using. And when all you want to do is buy a domain or email address, you shouldn't have to opt out of page after page of add-ons that you don't want or need. That's why Hover only offers domains and email, so you can focus on finding a great domain name and get back to working on your great idea. Unlike most other domain providers, Hover includes free WHOIS privacy with all supported domains to keep your information confidential. And let me tell you, as somebody who's registered a lot of domains, that WHOIS privacy is key. You definitely want to protect your contact information. So if you already have multiple domains scattered across other domain providers, you can save money by bringing them all to Hover. Eligible domains will include WHOIS privacy. And with volume discounts, the more domains you have in your account, the more of a discount Hover will automatically apply to your account. With Hover, there's no more digging through the help articles to figure out how to get your domain working. If you need a hand, give them a call, and Hover's awesome support team is there to help you. No annoying phone trees or transferring to another department. So find a domain name for your idea. Go to hover.com/AAA and get 10% off your first purchase. That's hover.com/AAA. Hover, domain names for your ideas. And we thank them for their support. All right, so that said, let's get into hardware.
Get hyped, guys. Just
Hype.
get hyped. Because do you know what's happening next week?
I don't know.
Samsung put together a 15-second video to tell us all about what will be happening next week.
Are we gonna watch the video?
I don't know. Watch it. Well, we're watching it. We're gonna talk about it. Okay, it's happening. Here's a man appearing on screen for all of you listening in. It's a countdown to the number 8, which alludes to the GS8.
So the man in the video opens his bedroom door, which is shaped oddly like a phone, and it exposes space and explodes.
It opens to space. What planet is that? I don't even know what planet it's got. Is it Mars?
I don't know, man.
Looks like Jupiter in the background there. I don't know.
Maybe it's Mars.
Pretty big.
It's probably Pluto. Let's be honest. The lost planet, which should come back, please.
I gotta tell you, Korea gets some pretty cool teasers from Samsung. That's pretty cool.
Yes, it does. Yeah. I wonder how those kind of teasers would play over here in the U.S.
Well, they're clearly playing because we're talking about them and watching them.
That's also very true.
Well, LG does them too. LG put like 14 of them out for the G6 just before it came out. But okay, yay, colors and options and stuff. Hooray.
Well, so I was gonna say, is there anything? Yeah. So even though we're a week out from Samsung's event, is there anything we don't know about the Galaxy S8 yet?
I mean, there's things that we think we know. Not everything has been, officially confirmed. Today, the leak revealed 3 color options coming out, as well as pricing.
Yeah, it looks good.
And what is the pricing, Flo?
Yes, I'm sorry, guys. I didn't have the page loaded. My God. The Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus might be retailing for $799 and $899 respectively euros.
Is it Euro prices?
Euro pricing. 3 colors that are coming out are Black Sky, Orchid Gray, and Arctic Silver, all of which have wallpapers that match that particular description. I am particularly excited about the Orchid Gray, because anything with the word orchid in it means it sounds kind of purpley, and that is my favorite color. And I've been waiting for an Android manufacturer to make a phone in a color that I like. So I'm hoping that this is it.
These colors do look pretty cool, and we should give credit to a friend of the show, Evan Blast at Evleaks.
For sure.
Who posted not only the colors, but the Euro pricing, the S8 being $799, the S8 Plus being $899 euros. Also the Gear VR for 129 euros and the Gear 360 for 229 euros. And the DEX docking station will be available for 150 euros according to Ev. So they're it reminds me of last year's Galaxy announcement. We're heavy on the VR side. Like, we're seeing VR pricing come with the phones.
Yes, I think it's next week's going to be another just really intense week for hardware. I mean, we've got this phone.
Is anybody else bored senseless though? I'm sorry. It looks nice. It doesn't look bad. And I agree. The gray is dude, that's way better than the rose gold stuff that we've been getting for the last 3 years now. I really like this.
Whoa, Mark, careful. Don't.
Yeah, there's a lot of rose gold fans. Don't
badmouth the rose gold around Flo though. She's a big rose gold fan.
I love rose gold.
Rose gold. Hey, haters. I think that rose gold is terrible, and this gray is fantastic.
But at the same, I will say that rose gold will be out of style in the next 5 years. So yellow gold, I think, is a better investment.
It's the next 5 weeks. It's already on the way out.
You're right. It's being replaced by copper, actually.
Ooh.
I agree with you, Flo, that I think that orchid gray, that purplish gray, is really kind of. I think these are good color. These are good colors. Fresh. So. Yeah.
Fresh.
So it probably is a good time to let you know that if you're really on the edge of your seat about this Samsung event, you can tune in here to Twit on March 29th. So it's a week from tomorrow on Wednesday, March 29th, where I'll be joining Leo and the Twit crew. I believe, hopefully Jason is there at 8 a.m. Pacific time, where we'll be covering this live, the Samsung event, Galaxy S8 event. So we'll find out real time what's going on, what's real and what was leaked that was wrong. So I'm looking forward to that.
And if you are really just bored of hearing about the Galaxy S8, well, there's good news. The LG G6 is available for pre-order. If you liked what you saw, it's available at all the big four carriers, T-Mo, AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, and even US Cellular, for those of you who might be on the carrier. And the phone officially goes on sale April 7th.
Cool.
Which is a good date. 7 is a good number. So
I think
maybe
the
lucky 7.
I think the G6 is going to be a good phone. I think those LG phones are all right. Mark,
It's a really good phone. I've been using it as my second phone.
Is it all right? I mean, like, it looks fine. It seems like they at least righted the ship after last year. Last year was a huge miss. It seems like they're at least on the right track, but I'm skeptical that they're going to be able to do enough as a flagship in 2017 at that price point. I'm skeptical of all the flagships this year.
I wouldn't be so skeptical of the flagships this year, though, because like the G6 is a really good entry for this year, especially, I mean, considering the track record LG's had the last 2 years. This is a huge improvement. I love the cameras on the G6. I think they're almost as good as the Pixels cameras, and I like, and I say that not in a scientific manner. I'm saying that as a point and shooter, so to speak. Like, it's just as good. I find myself just as impressed with the output of the G6 as I have been with the Pixel XL. And you know, the features, the little camera features that it comes with, not worth the extra money for upgrading to this phone, but they're fun to use. And I don't have to worry about, you know, if I want to do some fun stuff on social media, I don't have to worry about like third-party apps. So the G6 has its market. The only thing I'm worried about, and I actually wrote about this in my little like second look at the G6 on Android Central, was I feel like the different Gorilla Glass coverings makes for a very ill-protected phone, because I've already got a couple of dents in the
on the display
of the G6 on the back, and that was just from dropping it in the garden. In the garden.
I don't know. My issues with it have a little bit less to do with the feature set and the improved build. I think the build looks much better, no question. I just think that in another year or so, I mean, LG has been rather iterative, or I guess at the very least, They've been paying attention a lot to the market. Take a look at the background image of the G6 and these ads on that article that we have up. Like, that looks an awful lot like the little paper material 7s that we saw from Samsung.
Look how nicely it matches the Google Home.
Yeah, exactly.
Which,
like,
by the
LG
way,
has been taking hint after hint from Google and Samsung.
Yep.
Sorry about that, Mark.
No, that's okay. I don't think we're going to be super stoked on this phone in like a year from now. Like, looking back, I think we're going to feel similarly to the G5. I think it's just a little bit too little, too late.
Or are we just bored because everything's good?
No, I just think it's going to get outclassed. I think it's March in 2017. It's got a Snapdragon 821 under the hood. I mean, like, there's still 3/4 of the year left. They've hyped it like crazy, and only just now we're getting to pre-order it. Like, someone who buys this thing right now on pre-order is not going to get it for another month or so.
But they will get a free Google Home.
The next thing. They'll get a free Google Home. Yes.
With the purchase of it before April 30th.
Yeah, better get on it, guys.
That's a good promotion. I think for the average user, the G6 is a fine phone that will get them through the year. Maybe for like to Flo's point, I think we're a little spoiled in that this is a time of riches of phones right now. Like, there are some really, really good phones on the market, and it's tough to compete.
And we have other things to worry about.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, well,
this is a very deep year.
Yeah, geez, Flo. I'm trying not to. This is my escapism. Can we not bring that in?
You're right. Let's escape.
Yeah. So, speaking of escaping, if you happen to be in Paris today, you could have bought the new OnePlus phone. Are you guys excited about the new OnePlus 3T?
I have to say, Ron, the social media thing that OnePlus is doing is working impeccably well for them. The whole like going overseas and having like pop-ups and doing like all these social media things and just like Carl Pei being on, being available on social media. And by the way, look at this phone. It's so pretty.
So for those who are listening to the show who can't see the phone, it's a
beautiful black matte.
It's a matte black special edition of the 3T that was only sold at a pop-up shop inside of Colette, which is an amazing click and mortar store in Paris. Basically, it's this huge store with you purchase online, you go to pick it up. Like it's a next generation kind of retail experience.
So millennial.
Yeah, a little bit. Like if you Google them, they hang on. They say it's a 8,000 square foot concept store in Paris with an exhibition space, a bookstore, and a water bar serving more than 100 brands of bottled water.
What? I want to visit this place so badly.
And so they set up a pop-up shop today only, where OnePlus sold 250 of this special edition 3Ts. They were for sale for 479 euros. And the only difference is that they're a 3T that's matte black with the Colette logo. But what I found interesting was on Reddit, somebody posted this picture. Someone picked it up. And if you zoom in, Brian, on the camera, does the camera look crooked?
It does. He doesn't even have to zoom in that much, and it already looks crooked.
Right? Isn't that weird? And I don't know if that.
Do you guys think that maybe they like rushed it? They were like, "Let's go to Paris and sell some pretty phones," and just. I
don't know, but what was funny is that someone posted it. Someone posted this on the OnePlus Reddit, and there's like 40 comments under the photos like, that camera's crooked, right? It's crooked, and everybody agreed.
Oh, see, look, thank you so much for adjusting the perspective there, Brian. Was that you?
Yeah.
Like I was looking at it, I was like, see, I don't know, man. I've seen some good optical illusions in my day.
I think it's an optical illusion. I don't think it's actually crooked, but it looks it, doesn't it? So
it does look crooked.
Yeah, actually, after Brian started doing that, it didn't look so crooked to me. Yeah. Regardless, I have to say that this selling a smartphone and boutique thing is a very curious thing for me, because it means that we're finally beginning to accept, because this has been happening for such a long time. We're finally beginning to accept that the smartphones are these accessories, these extensions of ourselves. And now, I don't know, Ron, if you remember that many, many months back, Nextbit had sold the Robin in a couple of boutiques here in San Francisco. And I thought that was kind of a cool thing, just to sell the smartphone as this boutique living, design, this little piece of design that you own.
I agree with that notion, though. I like that.
I'm into it.
It's got this. I'm sorry, I'm going to make it about gaming again, but like a lot of games these days have like really embraced the free-to-play thing and have completely embraced the fact that people love the cosmetic stuff. Like Overwatch, you pay once and all of the unlockables are just visual. Imagine if phones did the same thing. Imagine if we seriously cut cost on something that everybody needed, got it down to like $200-$300 for a crazy great phone, and also had these like crazy boutique ones on top of that too.
Yes, and you know what? I don't want to just like go and buy skins and cases to try and. I want the thing made for me. Quite frankly, I would love to just have it be in a cookie color or something.
Yeah, like building yourself a PC or something, like you want it to have a little bit of you in it, because it's a thing that you carry with you all day, every day.
Aura, what could have been?
No, as speaking as somebody who gets asked once a week about my phone with the Robin, I mean, a phone that looks different, really stands out, and that's fun. And I think that if we saw more variations, I don't know if a matte black OnePlus 3T gets the job done if it's that different. No. But the idea of creating an event around the sale of this, I think, is a great way to spread awareness. And it's an interesting approach to marketing, where previously we used to have the how many days since OnePlus screwed up their marketing sign behind us. Right. Mm-hmm. And this is a marketing home run as far as I'm concerned. So
that is absolutely
good job.
True.
So our last story in hardware, we don't normally talk about like venture funding and investments and stuff like that. We kind of keep away from the money side of things. But I think this is real. This is a really interesting story. We've been tracking Andy Rubin's new smartphone company, Essential. Right, we were hearing little rumblings about it. There's some
lots
rumors
of rumblings.
Yeah, the first phone is going to come out this summer. So interesting enough. The news hit the Wall Street Journal first, and then everyone's picked it up. That SoftBank, a venture capitalist firm, pulled $100 million in funding from Essential. So basically, Essential was about to close out a round of funding that was north of $100 million, $100+ million, and SoftBank was committed for $100 million, and they pulled out of the investment. And so no one knows now what this means for the future of Essential, or what for the future of that funding round, or if how this affects them. If SoftBank had stayed committed with that $100 million investment, that would have valued Essential at $1 billion. They haven't shipped anything yet, and already worth $1 billion. So think about that. And some of the speculation might be the fact that SoftBank is currently putting together a $100 billion venture fund called a Vision Fund that is specifically for tech investments. Wow. And who has funding in that Vision Fund? Apple.
Wow.
Apple has committed $1 billion towards that Vision Fund, and it's unknown whether or not Essential was part of this Vision Fund. So basically, Apple would be funding a competitor. And so
I'm 99% sure that explains the whole shtick.
Yeah. 98%, I would say at least 1% has to do with Andy Rubin. At least.
Sure, I'll give you that.
I'm just thinking about the community of the Silicon Valley. It is a very tight-knit little clique that, you once you're a part of it, like that's you can keep moving along kind of thing. So that's why I thought people were mongering about this so much, because Andrew Rubin's behind it. And
he's the grandfather of Android.
Yeah, who's the founder of Android, or what is the founder of Android going to do now that he's left the operating system he left with Google, kind of thing?
Yeah.
And so I'm immensely curious. I'm even more curious.
Good drama, by the way. This is good.
This is great drama because if they're already coming out of the gate being valued at $1 billion, and then you've already got, if it is true that SoftBank pulled out because of an Apple conflict, and Apple is spooked enough, then this is upgraded to must keep an eye on this. This is going to be easily. And I cannot wait for the summer. So
that was a key phrase.
They're going to find the money elsewhere. They're going to find this money from another VC. Like SoftBank is a great place to take money from, but they are. I mean, like they're well known, and I mean they've backed some of the biggest companies in the world.
I'm just imagining you've speed dialed SoftBank before and been like, "Hello, can I have $10, please? I need
hi, good day." And they're like, "No, not a real bank, SoftBank." But we're gonna see this. I mean, I think that Google is a little bit scared too. I think they'd be silly not to be a little bit concerned. This is the grandfather of Android going off to start his own thing again. And these stories don't usually end very well, but you've got to respect it. You got to respect the threat of activation.
Yep.
Well, you know what I am super excited about is not only did we have a video mail submission today, we also have an email. We've got an email, which I'm going to read to you right now. This one is from Barry. Barry says, I have one of those Nexus 5s. I bought it right out from Google, and I'm in Ting, which is an MVNO of Sprint. I have loved it. I use no data. I can if I need to. Just Wi-Fi, download stuff that I need, and my phone bill is pretty cheap. So I was very sad when Google said that there would be no Nougat for me. I accepted it, but the problem is no more security updates. My Android security patch level hasn't been updated since October 5, 2016. What do I do? I really like the Nexus 5. It's pure Google, and I love that it was getting the Google updates. And I also loved that it was a cheap phone, only $400 back when he bought it. How long should I keep the Nexus 5 on 6.0.1 and the 2016 security patch? And what could I replace it with if I were going to? Well, Barry, I would say, I think a Moto G. What do you guys think? I mean, the Nexus
Moto
6G is not really a good idea. It seems like Google really wants people to just kind of jump into the Pixel and is just sort of.
I would know. I was going to suggest the 5X because
really?
I know the 5X. I was going to say the 5X got a lot of negative response when it came out, but it is the closest thing to the Nexus 5. It's available. It's cheap. It's pure Google. Like it checks all of his boxes, and if he's just using it for Wi-Fi and for all this sort of stuff, I bet you he'd be fine on a Nexus 5X.
Although I will say there are a lot of mid-range phones around the $400 mark that are totally worth it if you want just a little more oomph, maybe a better camera or better battery life. For instance, the ZTE Axon 7 Mini, and I wonder if that's I think it might be compatible.
I don't know.
Mark, what would you suggest? That a low cost, Nexus 5?
Come here. Let's talk. Do you feel comfortable attempting to? Oh, we're very close now. Oh, too close.
Hey,
you
asked Barry to get close.
Too many pores. I wanted Barry to get close. If you're comfortable with trying to do some third-party ROMs, I think you'll have a really good time. Lineage is available for the Nexus 5.
Oh, geez.
And if you feel confident
this is bad
in
advice,
learning
Barry.
this stuff, no, this is really good
not
advice
bad
because
advice,
it's important that we learn this stuff as phone enthusiasts, as Android users. If it's a great learning experience. There's so many great tutorials. XDA is a great place, super friendly. There's so much information. You can get more life out of that phone if you love that phone. I realize this is kind of a non-answer, but if you really love that phone, there are options for software on that phone. If not, what Flo said, like there's a ton of great $400 devices.
OnePlus 3T.
Yeah,
flagship specs right there.
Yep. Right there. Yep. That's a great price on a great phone. Otherwise, if you're dead set on stock Google, 5X.
Yep.
But the OnePlus 3T will do fine.
I think the OnePlus 3T is a good option as well too.
I think
that it's as close to pure, kind of like, fresh, no bloatware kind of stuff on the phone.
And they'll add features that are sort of like coming. I know OnePlus usually what they'll do is they'll try to put on features that are coming to like a future build of Android, so you're not like behind everybody, which is really nice.
And most importantly, it's getting security updates. So,
because they have a development team that are
Actively
updating it
updated.
along with everybody else, which is great. And it's unlocked.
Yes.
So
well, thank you, Barry. Thank you, Barry, for writing in. And everyone, as a quick reminder, you can write in, you can send in your emails and voicemails to aa@twit.tv. We love hearing from you, so please keep them coming. And let's take a quick break and thank our next sponsor. We want to thank LegalZoom for sponsoring this episode of All About Android. And National Small Business Month at LegalZoom.com is here. And the timing absolutely couldn't be better. Approval rates for business loans are up, and so is consumer confidence. But it takes a lot more than good timing to launch a successful business, folks. That's why LegalZoom created a free business startup kit. Part of being an entrepreneur is utilizing the right resources to help you succeed, and you can't be an expert about everything. So download your free startup kit today. You'll get educational ebooks and LegalZoom discounts to save money in setting up your business. Plus, you can save thousands of dollars through LegalZoom's partner offers to help with financing, marketing, and day-to-day operations, things you'll need to run a successful business. There's no obligation, just a lot of resources. LegalZoom isn't a law firm, but they're dedicated to making life easier for business owners. And let me tell you, as a small businessman myself with several companies that I founded and run and own, having good legal advice is so important, and having the information and doing it right the first time. If you're a small business, LegalZoom is such a great resource. So whether you're thinking of starting a new business or already run one, go to LegalZoom.com/startup during National Small Business Month to take advantage of a free business startup kit and enter AAA at checkout for special savings. That's LegalZoom.com/startup and choose AAA at checkout for that awesome special savings. And we thank LegalZoom for their support, not only of All About Android, but also making sure that our businesses are running tip-top. So thank you, LegalZoom.
And now it is time for the apps. Kids, check your phones today. There has been an update to the Google Search app on Android and iOS for US users that add little short search shortcuts. It's actually kind of a hard word to say very quickly. I've got a little demo for you right here on my Google launcher as soon as I turn down the brightness, because apparently it was up too high. So now when you're going over into the Google launcher, you'll see these little app shortcuts, search shortcuts. So you can tap on them to quickly look at things like the weather, get directions to home, directions to work, Maybe find a place to eat and drink. Maybe you want to look up the sports scores of your favorite sports team because you like sports. You want to know how your sports are doing. Maybe you need a level tool. Well, there's a shortcut for that too, very easily. Here's a level tool, which apparently I actually just found out right now, this second, that this exists.
That's so cool.
Google search. What? Okay, cool.
That's amazing.
I didn't know that.
That eliminates the need for a level app.
Yeah, I had absolutely no idea
I
that
can now
existed.
uninstall all 12 of the ones that I keep.
Oh, geez, there are way too many of those in the Play Store. Oh, wait, sorry to developers. Anyway, yes, so maybe you want to have some fun. There's shortcuts for that, too. This is rolling out to everybody in the U.S. today. So if you've got it, use it if you want.
It's pretty
I have
cool.
to say, I have to tell you guys, this came up on my interface like a couple of weeks ago, and I kind of don't like it. Because it's changed the way the Google Now launcher sort of functions on my phone and changes.
Someone fears change.
I don't like
change.
and I don't like the fact that when I tap on my trips, for instance, now you're all going to know where I'm going. I don't like the way it just sort of aggregates it here in the search. I don't know. It's kind of a messy interface that I'm just not that into it. She's just not that into it.
I got to imagine they did it for a reason. I guess we'll find out. Mark's shaking his head no.
Yeah.
Mark's shaking his head no.
I mean,
No,
it's fine.
We'll find out May 17th at the Google I/O keynote in Mountain View, California.
Yep. All right. Well, moving on. We're all anxiously awaiting the launch of Super Mario Run. This was the iOS exclusive that release that came out in December, and we've been waiting for Android. Well, it is coming this Thursday, March 23rd. You can pre-register for it on the Google Play Store, but it's coming out on Thursday. It's going to be free to download. There'll be, and you could pay $9.99 in-app purchase to unlock all the goodies within the app. Who will be downloading this on Thursday?
Not me.
Me.
Not interested. No, thank you.
100% me.
Very
All right.
That's all.
typical.
I mean, I haven't played it at all. I'm just excited to play it. Like that. I don't.
I'm going to
seems fine.
download it. I'll give it a shot. Yeah, why not?
What?
Yeah, I'll give it a go. I have been playing Fire Emblem Heroes, which is Nintendo's only other mobile game right now, and
But
it's actually
I would play
really
Fire
good.
Emblem. It's an RPG. This you just tap to make him jump.
Yeah, but presumably he's running, and presumably there's coins to get.
You're just gonna do it. Like, how do you do that for?
All I want to know is that
Florence,
if it's
are you missing the? You're missing the point here. Mario runs, and there are points. There's coins and points, and there's time, and he's running.
How's that worth $8 or however much this app is?
Let's move on. Flo's not gonna get it.
Will he say it's a me? That's all I want to know. It's a me, Mario. All right. So moving on to angry users, SwiftKey launched a new version of their SwiftKey keyboard and updated the flow experience, and their users hate
You're
it.
welcome.
They made some changes to the way the flow actually works, and basically it's no longer offering predictions for the next word in the suggestion bar, rather corrections for the word that you just swiped, which is a major change. If you want those predictions, you need to tap to accept one of the suggested words first and then get the next prediction. So it's actually slowing down typing with Flow, and not with Florence, but with their SwiftKey Flow. And they also made changes to the way capitalization and spacing work. So imagine if your keyboard that you've been using for ages all of a sudden worked differently. They're very angry. Microsoft is aware of it and they're monitoring the situation, but there's no signs of them rolling it back. And it's like just give people an excuse to go download the Gboard.
I just want to point out you skimmed over it, but this Anthropolis article is Microsoft is still monitoring the situation with air quotes. So for whatever that's worth.
That's such a Microsoft, like we're monitoring. I don't even know. I mean, sometimes you make changes to your apps and the users don't like it. And I'm sure they have a reason to make that change. I moved off the SwiftKey and I'm 100% Gboard now. So
yeah, me too. I only know one person left who's still on SwiftKey, and it's a mutual friend of ours, Maya. That's the only person I can think of off the top of my head who's still using SwiftKey on the day-to-day.
You know, Ron, I actually put your initials down on that item in the docket because I knew you were a SwiftKey user, but I didn't know you had switched.
Oh yeah, no, I jumped to Gboard. Gboard. Like I'm done. Like finally Google did it, and Gboard is the best keyboard on the market right now.
GIF search, themes, AMOLED mode. Oh, dude, yeah.
It's very
keyboard
good.
translates built in. Oh, hell yeah.
The translate one is the best.
Oh yeah.
Maybe you guys can help me translate this a little bit. So there is a little news item we've got in the docket today about Link Bubble, the floating browser that a lot of people really liked from the Play Store. So Link Bubble isn't available in the Play Store anymore because of apparently Google hasn't fixed this, hasn't developed support for this sort of this thing in WebView that allows the Link Bubble chat bubble to be ever present on your interface.
Well, yeah. So this has a lot to do with those background services that they're changing in Android O as well.
That's what I figured. That's what I thought.
Yeah. So basically, Google's quote unquote refused to fix Android to support a WebView that runs and renders from a background service. And this is the quote from Link Bubble's, the company that makes Link Bubble that actually bought it, Brave Software. If you remember, Link Bubble was made by Chris Lacey.
Friend of the show.
Action
Chris
Launcher.
Friend of the show, Chris Lacey, yeah, who created it and sold it to Brave Software. And I think this has a lot to do with some of the Android O improvements, the moving towards limiting those background services and basically not allowing a WebView to run as a background service, which could be seen as a battery killer. So it's a bummer because I know a lot of people love Link Bubble, but it seems like Google has deemed that the way it works is no longer. So
I don't understand the use case for this.
Yes. Go ahead, Mark.
No, that's my whole statement, Flo, is I don't understand the use case for this.
Oh.
Like, I just don't understand why everybody's upset. Like, why is this so useful?
Because it's a browser that's floating above your usage on of the phone. And so the idea is that it was actually pretty cool. I remember when it came out, we were like, oh, wow, this is crazy, because it was like you tap on it and it would expand out to the browser and show, like it was the idea of this floating app on top of whatever you were using.
Okay.
So,
yeah. And when I'd read that original quote, I had sort of thought maybe it had something to do with the Android O WebView stuff. And that's kind of wanted to wait to see what you guys thought too before making that assumption. But now I'm wondering, is that going to affect other applications? Like, is Facebook Messenger still going to?
Yeah.
Well, no.
So to quickly give you the use case, and here I've got it, Brian, if you want to show it on the screen, it's there in the chat. But basically, so when you're in Twitter and you see a link, you can tap the link and Link Bubble appears as a little bubble on the right and loads the page in the background while you're still in the app that you tap the link for. And when it's loaded, then you can tap on the bubble and it expands and shows you the browser.
Whereas
That's
Facebook Messenger doesn't do
delightful.
that. Yeah, it just minimizes it.
Correct.
Oh, wow. That's delightful. Okay, now I see the use case here. That's awesome. So I just installed Flinks because that was the thing that everybody was like, okay, we'll go try Flinks. But now, this is cool.
Yeah, very similar to Flinks. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's a bummer because Link Bubble and Chris Lacey's an amazing, created an amazing product, and it's a bummer for Brave Software that these changes in Google.
Yeah.
And it's funny because this story came up and then Android O dropped, and it was like, oh, okay, that's why.
Right.
Yeah, and I also wonder, like, is it really? I mean, if it's gonna benefit the users in the end, and Android is trying to become more of a quote unquote mainstream platform,
Right.
This sounds like the kind of thing. I mean, this sounds like a kind of thing that iOS would control.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
So,
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
But if the argument is that those background services save for battery usage and life, it's one of those trade-offs. Like, can you do this in a way that's responsible for how it uses that background service, or do they feel the need that background services have run out of control and now they need to clamp down on them?
there's got to be a way. And if you want to figure out a way, the source code is available on GitHub.
It's pretty cool.
Link Bubble. So if you're interested.
All right. Let's thank our last sponsor before we go into the arena. And this episode of All About Android, we want to thank Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans for sponsoring this episode. And let me tell you, I bought a house once, and the singular worst part of buying the house was getting the mortgage. It actually scared me off of home ownership for years after that, because getting the mortgage process was so traumatic and so annoying. And I wished 10 years ago when I was doing this that something like Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans was around. Because listen, one of the biggest decisions is choosing your mortgage lender. And it's important to work with somebody that you trust and has your best interest in mind. With Rocket Mortgage, you'll get a transparent online process that gives you the confidence to make an informed decision. So don't waste time searching through stacks of paperwork. With Rocket Mortgage, you can securely share your financial info to get a mortgage approval in minutes. You can even adjust the rate and length of your loan in real time to make sure you get the mortgage solution that's right for you. So whether you're looking to buy a home or refinance your existing mortgage, you can lift the burden of getting a home loan with Rocket Mortgage. And I got to tell you guys, honestly, this is the real deal. It makes it so much easier to refinance or to get a mortgage on a new home. It takes a lot of the mystery and a lot of the, honestly, fear out of getting a mortgage in an interface that we're all used to through their various applications. So they're awesome. And what's best of all, allows you to skip the bank, skip waiting, and go completely online at quickenloans.com/Android. That's quickenloans.com/Android. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS consumeraccess.org, number 3030. And we thank Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans for their support, for helping people get quick and easy mortgages, and for sponsoring this episode of All About Android. That said, I'm going to do my best Jason here. It's time to go to the arena.
So many enter, but only one lives. Android Arena.
Last week.
Is that a light French accent on that?
It's a little Spanish rolling of the R. The arena.
Okay.
Arena. Arriba. All right, now that we've completely butchered that. So last week we had 4 apps go into the ring and one came out on top, and that was Glasswire.
Yes.
Yes.
I did not anticipate that. I didn't think I'd win that week. So my app Glasswire got 48.2% of the votes.
Number 2 was Golden Hour, which was my app. Number 3 was Implosion.
Our last week's guest app.
Guest app. And then last, but absolutely not least, because holy crap, now I absolutely know what it's like to live in Jason's shoes. Confabration.
Confabration.
I have so much respect for Jason.
Yeah.
Just FYI
Confabration
right
was actually, it reminds me a lot of the news of the notification channels. Like Confabration falls within that handling notification. I think that app deserved a better vote than it got, but I'm not going to argue it, because with the results, with that win, I am now firmly in first place with 36 points. The guests are in second with 33. Jason is firmly in third with 25, and Flo is in fourth with 24. Tight races.
That is,
anything
okay,
can happen.
at least it's a tight race. I like that it's a tight race.
I'm hoping I can actually contribute to the guests' win this year, because last year I accepted the award and I personally did not do well. So I'm hoping I can actually contribute this year. But either way, I'll be back to accept the award.
That's a good point, actually, Mark, is that now guests, you have to put your best foot forward to help everybody else.
Right.
See, the stakes are just a tiny bit higher.
Okay, so since Jason is not here and the guest never goes first, Flo, you will go first.
I will go first. So, yes. Brian, if you don't mind the Play Store link, because what I have today is a Daydream VR game, which is very hard to show on camera to everyone because I didn't bring the whole setup because of it. It is a setup. It's a crazy setup to try and do that. But anyway, this game is called Virtual Reality. It just came out. It's about $9 on the Play Store. But I have to say, the reason I brought this to the arena today is because I really feel that this is the kind of daydream virtual reality title that makes it worth considering, the Pixel and the Daydream virtual reality capabilities. It makes that worth considering when you're purchasing, making your next phone purchase. Virtual reality it's only a 2-hour game, but because you're only supposed to do VR in 15-minute spurts or so, it's not that, you'll spend plenty of time with it. But it's a meta play on virtual reality. So what you see is you use the Daydream View controller to sort of lasso and capture VR goggles. You put on the VR goggles by doing this sort of mechanism where you're whipping it back toward your face, and it takes you into a different world. And so you can basically keep going in and going in and going into the Matrix. And the premise of the game is that you're a human being hired for emotional labor by AI. So robots will robots are taking you into this virtual reality world so that they can fulfill their own weird fantasies. So for instance, when you start out the game, the first customer that you have to deal with, first client you have to deal with, is a stick of butter who derives sexual pleasure from you putting toasted bread on him. It's it's not that
too,
overt,
though.
by the way, the whole pleasure thing, but it definitely gets there.
Is butter still a part of it? Like, is there a butter theme?
No, but it's just they take
I'm joking. I don't think there's a butter theme, Flo. I don't really think there's a butter theme.
I wasn't processing what you were asking. Don't ask me to process things when Jason isn't here. There's already a lot going on in this little brain of mine. Anyway, I've really been enjoying this game. I've been going into it. I previewed it at GDC, and I got to talk to the developers. It's a small little team out of LA who put this together. And if you're interested if you've got Daydream VR, I know there's not a lot of people out there, but it's the App Arena. And I wanted to kind of showcase an app that shows the worthiness of virtual reality, at least as a storytelling form. So, virtual reality.
Cool.
It's in the Google Play Store, $8. I think it's totally worth the $8. It's a fun game. Oh, and there are 2 different endings to it. So if you play it over first time, you can play it over again and get like a different outcome.
That's
Nice.
very cool.
So yeah.
I like that.
Gentlemen, I have your app installed on my phone, so I am here to be the Vanna White to your apps.
All right. Well, Mark, as the guest, you are up.
Way better than Vanna White, by the way.
Thank
Way
you.
better.
Although I love Vanna White.
So my app, I cannot believe I showed up on like the first time I don't bring a game. You do a game, Flo. I'm
True.
my pants, they're all ruffled now. So this is an app called Write a Day. I have been learning how to meditate. I've used Headspace to learn a bunch of stuff. I'm pretty far into the program now. And one of the things that I've been learning to do and learning to do well, hopefully, is to journal. And this app is fantastic for this. It's free. This is a small company. They also have a few other apps on the Play Store. They have some like focused stuff. They have another like journaling option. But this one I like a lot for a couple of reasons. A, it's really nice and colorful. It gives you a visual of how much you've dumped in there. It's got a really nice month view. It's super easy to use, very, very stable. It's also got this really neat feature where like if you're journaling, if you're doing it, like making a lot of effort to journal, can you open the drawer flow on the left side? In there, it'll ask you what's your focus for today. And one of the things I'm trying to do more of is journaling in the morning when you're still kind of groggy and setting up for your day. You know, what is my focus? What is it that I want to get done for today? And the more I'm in the app trying to dump my thoughts into there, the more you see that focus. And what Flo just showed on camera there real quick was the pro options, which are also excellent. You can use the Google Play Store subscription and do $1 a month, or you can just pay $10 flat and have a lifetime license, and that'll get you access to different fonts, a dark mode, some fancier iconography where it'll like intelligently see what you said and generate an icon based on that. It's a great little app. It doesn't have a whole lot in terms of other bells and whistles, but it's super straightforward, well designed, super stable, like does what it says on the box. Very, very happy with it.
It asked me a couple questions, so I answered things that I'm grateful for. And the one thing I'm grateful for is Mark and Ron.
Oh, thank you, Flo. Thank you, Flo. I'm grateful for you, Flo.
Yay.
Super grateful. So yeah, that's it. They also have the other app is called Once a Day, which is same idea, same design language and stuff, just focused on habits. But this one has been great for me for journaling. If you're into journaling or if you're getting into meditation, this is a great place to dump your brain ideas.
Right a day.
All right.
The one time
Very
I'm here
cool.
without a game.
I know. I'm impressed. I'm impressed there, Mike. All right. So I'll wrap things up with my app. And you guys know me. You've seen what I do. You've seen what I'm capable of. You know that my preference for apps. You know, my preference for apps tend to be, I really love material design. I really love well-designed apps. I really love functional apps that help you, that enhance your usage, enhance your life. But this week, I thought I would bring you not a great design
An app that Flo would have probably brought into the show, honestly.
What kind of bizarro episode is this?
And this app isn't particularly designed nicely, but it does do one thing. And what that allows me to do, and allows you to as well, is that if you are at a bar that has an AMI-powered, internet-enabled jukebox, back up, Flo. Hang on, I'm not there yet. If you're screwed on my flow, hit back. Oh man, the whole demo screwed up, Flo. If you're at a bar that has an internet-powered jukebox, you are able to access that jukebox, enter in credits, choose songs, and also see what song is playing. So what you do is when you open the app, as Flo is in here now, you can see nearby locations. It's using your location services to pick up where you are. So let's just click on the Barb's Blue Rock Lounge right there.
Okay.
Scroll back up. There you go. Okay, so we can see there that currently playing is Used to This by something called Future, featuring something called Drake. So,
oh my gosh, are we going to change the music at a bar right now?
You could. We're not going to, but you conceivably could. So from here now, you are connected to the jukebox at Barb's Blue Rock Lounge, and you could type in THE. No, back. THE.
You saw what I was doing.
Space SMITHS. And then here we can go to the Smiths, hit the Smiths. And here we can go to Louder Than Bombs, choose that album. You can look at the songs, hit tops, our tracks. And now you can see the value of all the credits. So these are 2 credit songs. And if you log into the app and load in your credit card, you can buy credits and put in songs to go into the jukebox. This is amazing when you don't want to get up from your table, but you want to change the music. So luckily enough, AMI, at least in the United States, has a tremendous amount of these internet-powered jukeboxes, so much so that BarLink becomes an awesome must-have app for me that I use whenever I go out. Admittedly, it's a niche kind of thing, but if you do go out to bars a lot or whatever that have jukeboxes, it's a lot of fun to not even have to get up. And especially when somebody puts in like Fish or the Grateful Dead, you could change it very quickly, which is what I find myself doing most often. So there you go.
I have to ask, can you bump people with this? You know how the jukeboxes let you bump?
Yeah, basically, if the jukebox has the enabled play this song next for extra credits, you can do that as well here too.
Priority play, I think it's
we
called.
got a lot of nearby locations with jukeboxes.
They're look like 20 miles away. They're listing. Like I said, it's not a great developed app. In fact, I believe it's using the old hollow design sense, not even the not even material here. But but basically it just lists all the bars that are local to you in any distance, which is crazy. But that's fine because you could change you can go to Los Amigos Billiards 9 miles away in Santa Rosa. So
love that place.
All right, Brian and I are going there after show today to listen to the Smiths.
All right, so
our favorite song, How Soon Is Now.
So yes, good song. There you go, Flo.
Oh.
So you can vote for your favorite app. You can go to bit.ly/AAA vote 310. That's bit.ly/AAA vote 310. And there you can, and that should be working. I set it up while Flo and Mark were showing their. Yes, it worked. So,
yay.
So you can vote for your favorite app there. Let everyone know what is your favorite, and it'll be good times. So there it is. All right.
Well, guys.
Jeez. Flo, that was not the time to be indecisive, by the way.
I know. We should have discussed this beforehand.
So to clue everybody in and our listeners as well as Mark, in our secret chat room, I said, Flo, do you want to do the outro or would you like me to? And as I was doing the bit.ly link, she writes, you can do it or I can do it. I will do it. So there you go. Behind the scenes.
I'm trying to be brave, everyone. I'm trying to.
Flo, you be brave. You take over from there. So
you can do it, Flo. I believe in you. because your hair looks so good today.
Well, thank you, Mark. Mark, thank you so much for being on the show today and
Yeah, you're
for
welcome.
being with us through all of this craziness and craziness.
Oh,
Mark,
it's always a pleasure.
what do you have going on that you want to let people know about?
Oh my goodness, I have a lot going on. The YouTube channel is a very real thing. That's the link to it underneath my mouth, or the words underneath my mouth. Yeah, the YouTube channel-
YouTube.com/Mark Bursteiner.
Yes, that's the one. Thank you, Florence. Yeah, so that, and then the other really big thing that I know Ron knows about is I've been working with this company called Anchor. They're awesome. It's this audio only sort of ephemeral radio for the people platform. They launched in 2.0 recently, and I've been doing a show called The Burst Mode on there, focused on Android and mobile and gaming and tech and things that cross my mind. I've been having such a blast doing that. I did not realize how fun audio radio content was, and it's just an absolute blast. There's a link to it that I'm sure Brian will get you so that you can hear that whenever you want to. But the best place to keep up with everything, literally everything, I tweet everything I do. So @MarkB is probably the best place. And there's also Snapchat and stuff like that. But YouTube and Anchor, having a great time.
Dang, I need to get on that Anchor train, y'all. I've been meaning to. I really need to get on that train.
Dude, I'm genuinely very pleased with the quality content I'm able to crank out. I'm thrilled with the quality of the listeners. I'm really, really, really happy. Like they have this really cool mechanic that you can call into stations, and I can hear everything, but I can choose to publish one or two. So it's such a fantastic way to engage with people directly. It's been so much fun. I've had an absolute blast. That's where I've been publishing the most content by far.
That explains why I haven't been getting Mark Bursteiner is live on YouTube right now.
Yeah, I reduced my streams to 2 times a week, Wednesday and Thursday nights, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m.
There it is. Yeah, there's Mark on Anchor right there on the Burst Mode, as it's called.
That's
right,
me.
So there it is.
I love my little icon. Look at my little happy phone face, man.
Now, did Liam make that for you?
No, that one was not Liam. That one I did not have a hand in.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was self-made. Ron, thank you for everything.
You're welcome, Flo. Thank you for everything. So yes, as Mark mentioned, I mentioned previously on the show, I've been working with the folks at Anchor FM. I'm also doing iFanboy on there to do my comic book discussions. But that's all living at ifanboy.com, where every week we're talking about comic books, as well as the comic book movies and TV shows and things like that. I know Iron Fist just came out. It's 13 episodes. It's going to take a while before we review it, so just wait. But it's coming. We reviewed Logan. We're going to be reviewing Wilson, the new Woody Harrelson movie that's based on a graphic novel. I'm very excited about that.
Oh, they did Wilson by Daniel
Close.
Wilson.
They did. Go look at the trailer. It's awesome. It looks great. So very excited about that. But then also I'm doing a Damn Fine podcast with Tom Merritt, where we're revisiting and rewatching Twin Peaks, every episode leading up to season 3 in May, and then continuing on with season 3. It's a whole lot of fun. We've got some amazing, amazing guests. In fact, tomorrow's guest is someone I'm really psyched about. We had H. Perry Horton from Film School Rejects on the show. So he's going to be on the show tomorrow. You can get that at damnfinepodcast.com. And that's my world. Oh, also I'm on Twitter at RonXO, but you guys know that. So,
Brian, thank you so much
I wasn't sure if I was going to get a toss.
for everything. No, because last time I hosted the show, I forgot.
It's okay. I would have gone with it. I would have gone with the flow.
And that's why you're the best.
Aw, thanks, Flo. You did a great job tonight, too,
Thank
by the
you.
way. It's definitely not easy filling for Jason when he's not around, so I
No,
understand.
big shoes to fill, literally and figuratively.
Ooh, both.
Yes.
But while I have the moment...
What are you up to? What are you doing? I saw your corgi had a little friend today. Found a friend.
Yeah, on the rare occasion that I walk my corgi and I see another one, you have to talk to that person. It's just it's a requirement.
Yeah.
But mostly, if you want to see those pictures of corgis and stuff, you can follow me at cranky_hippo. But also, I work on a show here on Twit called Know How. Me and Padre are doing a networking segment right now. Just finished doing a podcast studio. If you wanted to build your own for like $1,000 or between like $1,000 and $3,000. If you want to do streaming and this kind of stuff, check it out.
That episode was awesome, Brian. That was great.
Yeah, it was really great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I've already pointed people in that direction. I'm like, go watch this. So yeah, so good job.
Yeah, and I'm in the process right now of kind of cutting up some of that and putting it into YouTube playlists, so it'll be even easier for people to like break out and check it out and stuff. But I'm also looking forward to being a friend of the show of the Damn Fine podcast at some point.
We will.
Yeah.
You are. We actually just released to our to our supporters and stuff, followers, the guest schedule, and you are on there, Brian. You're going to be in mid to late April, I believe. You're coming on, so it'll be good.
I'm looking forward to that. So check out Damn Fine podcast too, but only the show that I'm on. Not kidding.
Yeah, not the rest of them. Screw the rest of them.
And what about you, Flo?
What about me? Well, you guys know you can find me at AndroidCentral.com, all my writings and musings in the world of Android. And you can find me musing about the food I eat on Snapchat and on Twitter at OThatFlo, F-L-O. No
Love
W.
food.
But as for All About Android, that's it, folks. That's all, folks. I wish I could do the Porky Pig, like, anyway, it's...
Do you really? No.
No.
Think about
That was
really.
the best outro I've ever heard on this show.
Thanks for joining us today, guys. Be sure to sign up for the Twit newsletter at twit.tv/newsletter, where you can get behind the scenes stuff and see what's coming up in the next week. Also, be sure if you want to, ask in for a question, maybe get some advice on what to do in the world of Android, and you leave us a voicemail at 347-SHOW. AAA. You can also send an email and video mail at AAA@twit.tv. We've got a Reddit, twitaaa.reddit.com. And all the show notes and past episodes are available at twit.tv/AAA. And of course, we are on YouTube and iTunes. That's it, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Jason will be back next week.